Hi, I'm Dionne. Welcome to my studio. I'm going to be talking you through some observational drawing today. Now, observational drawing is brilliant for warming up your hand-eye coordination and to really look at what's in front of you, because sometimes we draw what we think we see rather than what we actually see. And we're going to be taking inspiration from those objects that are in the Tutankhamun exhibition at the Bodleian Library. So we're going to be using this as sort of inspiration on how objects can inspire and really make us think about what's around us. So this exhibition really focuses on the objects, obviously, that were discovered in Tutankhamun's tomb and the ways that that was recorded. So all of the drawings and photographs that captured that discovery of the tomb. And so we're sort of taking that, but we're taking it more thinking about our own spaces. So we're not going off to Tutankhamun's tomb. We're just looking at those objects that are around us right here, right now. So it could be that you would like to select the book that's in front of you. It could be the pot of pens that are in front of you. It could be your water bottle. But I'd like you to take one thing that's in front of you and use that to draw from. So I'm taking my pot that I painted last term that was inspired by the exhibition. So I'm going to use this pot because it's in front of me in my studio here to observe. So I just wanted to show it to you so you can see the shapes and things that I'm looking at and observing. So once you've selected your object, we're doing a couple of warm-up activities to do just that, to warm you up. So it's a bit like if you were doing sport, you'd be having a stretch before you go out and do your activity. It's exactly the same for observational drawing. You need to warm up those observational skills of what's in front of you and how you are observing that and recording that within your artwork. So to warm up, we are going to start with a drawing, but where we are drawing with paper. So we're going to take, it's quite nice to work for this activity to work on black paper or a nice strong bold colour. So I've got this red piece of paper here in my studio. I'm looking at my pot, so look at your object, whatever that may be, and I'm going to get you to start ripping the paper and placing it onto the surface of your paper. So to start making those shapes. So look at your object, think, is it a curve? Is it a rectangle? And I'm going to get you to start placing your paper onto the surface to mimic those shapes. So it's a bit tricky to do this because obviously this is upright and you need to sort of start laying it out a little bit before you start sticking it down. Once you've got a few of the main shapes, you can then start sticking. So I did just that. I was looking at my pot and I got those main shapes stuck down. So once you've got those main shapes, so this activity will probably take you about 5 minutes. It might take you 10 minutes. It's not something that you can spend hours and hours on that first layer. It may be that actually you'd like to develop it further and spend a lot longer on it, building up some of the detail. But this initial layer, it's a bit like when you do that nice, quick, instinctive drawing. It's just that, but with paper. So once you've got that first layer down, using just one colour of your paper, start to introduce another colour, and you can use this to start describing some of the things that help kind of form the shape. So I know that my pot is a pot because it's got these lovely curved shapes. So I'm going to start introducing some of those. So I'm going to put this around the top to tell me that there's the top part of my pot and how that then forms around here, and that gives me the idea that actually there's a space inside the pot as well. So really think about how you know that information about your object. So how do you know it's a book? Obviously because it's a book, but what are those visual clues that tell you that it's a book? So have a really good look and talk to somebody that's in the space with you about what you can see, and maybe they can share with you what they can see, because they might be observing it in a slightly different way, so that's quite interesting as well. So share some of those observations together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly build up this detail, as you can see, and I'm going to use my yellow paper here so you can see it, so it's a bit closer up, to start outlining some of the outline shape, maybe some of the shadows that's on the side of my pot as well. So I'm going to use that to start, describing those extra kind of details and key clues that tell me about my shape. So that's your first activity. And like I said, that first bit you'll probably do quite quickly, and it's this second bit that you can really spend time with and enjoy doing and add to. So that's activity number 1. Activity number 2, we are going to use a graphite pencil. So graphite pencils are really nice to work with because they're very soft. You're not restricted. So a normal pencil, you've got this wooden edge which restricts you, and with a graphite pencil you don't have that. You've got the whole of the side of it to work with. So I'd like you to really use that. Experiment with holding the end of your graphite, so not just holding it like this, because that really restricts how you work. Use the end of it to hold, and I'm going to get you to press really lightly and just go for those key shapes like you did with your paper. So what are the first things you can see when you're drawing your object? So, and I'm going really big, so I'm filling the space, and the first line isn't always right, so I'm keeping it nice and loose, and I'm working across my piece of paper, so I'm keeping it really fluid. It's a bit like when you look at anything in life. So say you were looking at a face, the first time you look at somebody's face, you might notice their really nice smile, and the second time you look at their face, you might think, oh, they've got blue eyes. So it's the same with this. Every time you look at your object, you probably notice something slightly different. But I'm going to get you to keep working across that surface. And then once you feel, so it's really about movement at the moment, this drawing. You keep it nice and light. You're just looking at the form. So what shapes can you see? And then once you're happy with your shapes, I'm going to get you to start pressing down a little bit harder to start providing a bit more of a sense of form and shape. So I'm going to press down a little bit harder. So I'm working around my picture. So you may need to pause this video because we're doing 3 different activities. It might be that you want to do one, press pause, then do another one, so that you can keep up with the drawing activities. So I'm going to keep working across my picture, and as I feel happier with things, I'm going to keep drawing over and into, and then I'm going to start thinking about where is it? So where is it sitting? How do I know it's not just floating? It's because it's casting a bit of shadow. And how do I know that that is there? I know that because the shape that's behind it is really dark, and it cuts out and shows me that that's where it is. So look at the sort of backdrop, and I don't mean by drawing in all what's around your object, but just deciding whether it's lighter or darker. And I'm going to get you to start shading in and working across the surface of your drawing. So that's activity number 2. Now, activity number 3 is quite a messy affair. So we're going to be working with charcoal. And what I'm going to get you to do, and the brilliant thing about charcoal is that it is really sculptural. So I'm going to get you to work with your charcoal across the surface of your piece of paper, and I'd like you to fill your piece of paper with charcoal until it looks like this. And once it looks like this, I'm going to get you just to use your hands to rub it all in so that you've got a really nice surface to work on. And then what you're going to do is you're actually going to work into it using a rubber. So you're actually going to carve your drawing out using your rubber. So I'm going to do just that. I'm going to start like I did my other drawings, where I'm just looking at that main outline shape, and I'm going to start drawing it in. So you can see it emerging there. And then I'm going to get you to use your rubber as you are doing your graphite pencil. So you can slowly start working out where the light's hitting your object. How do you know where certain bits are on your drawing? It might be that you want to start making some of the background lighter or darker. So really use your rubber to carve out that information that's in front of you. And then once you've done that, I'm going to get you to start working back in with your charcoal. So you can really use that to help define certain shapes and pull out some of that key information again. And what you'll find is each picture, each observational drawing, you're probably learning and noticing something else. So this last drawing that you're doing here really kind of takes all that key information, and some of it will be quite instinctive by then. You'll be quite familiar with certain shapes and things that are forming on the surface of your picture. So keep working over and across, keep standing back from your picture as well. And this charcoal picture will really, really help you work quite instinctively, but also really take away and really spend time with what's in front of you and what you're creating on the surface of your drawing as well.